welcome to Just Between Us with me, Jennifer Zamparelli, sponsored by Kildare Village. Oh, yeah. Now, this podcast is mostly about fun indoors, but if you fancy a bit of al fresco, why not get out of the house and take a visit to Kildare Village with over 100 boutiques, 60 of which are exclusive in Ireland and 20 new brands to choose from. Visit Kildare Village, shopping that's so Irish. So today's episode is for our single friends out there who are simply done with being single. So if that's you, please stay with me because this one is about understanding why dating feels so difficult in Ireland and what genuinely helps people change their situation, from dating app fatigue and ghosting to the pressure around age and fertility. We're unpacking the emotional and cultural layers that make dating feel harder than it actually needs to be. So I'm joined by Feargal, a professional matchmaker who's been working in this space for over 15 years. He's here to help us step back, look at the bigger picture, and share practical advice for anyone who feels stuck. This is a conversation about easing the pressure, letting go of self-blame, and learning how to take gentle, realistic steps towards meeting someone without feeling like dating has to become a second full-time job, which it can. Fergal, how are you?
I'm very well.
It's good to see you again.
And you?
I love these chats.
Me too.
Because I have a lot of single friends.
Yes, okay.
And it is a bit of a minefield. And I don't know if it's me in my old age, but it seems to be getting harder.
It is. It is. Oh no, it's a basket case. And like I get calls from people every single day and saying, they're in their 30s, early 30s, mid 30s, and they're saying, I think I might just give up. I think I might just
so
hang in
sad.
the towel. And I'm like, why? What are you talking about? Because I'm on Tinder and Bumble and POF and Hinge, and all I'm meeting are these lunatics and getting ghosted every, few weeks. I'm spending all my time. I'm being a nice person. I'm being polite. I'm being, whatever, engaging. And then they just disappear.
So there is genuine app fatigue out there.
Oh, yeah.
I sense that. I feel it, but like massive drop in people using the apps. Would you say predominantly women? Would I be going out on a limb saying that, or is it across the board?
It's across the board.
Okay.
Women always say to me on the phone, I bet you've loads of women on your books and hardly any men. And I'm like, well, Mary, I couldn't be existing here for 15 years if it was a whole lot of women and no men, unless they were all lesbians. So that doesn't work that way. A lot of men are single, but they don't talk about it. They won't vocalise it. Women will go for lunch and chat away about how horrible and how horrendous people have been and how difficult dating is. Guys won't vocalise it, but they do feel it. They just do it quietly and silently. And that's why when you go to all these singles events, you see a load of women and then hardly any men, or creepy old guys in their 70s hanging around with 30-year-olds. Like, it's just guys won't put themselves out there. That's why our thing is so private. It has to be. Otherwise, you'll fail. We're
going to get into that and how it works and all that. But I just want to get the landscape in Ireland right now. What is the biggest shift you've noticed? I mean, I suppose in the last 15 years you've been in the business.
Yeah, myself and Rita saw that there was going to be fatigue taking place, and the Irish, the paranoia about everyone thinking they're famous in this country leads people to wanting total privacy and anonymity.
What do you mean by that?
Everyone thinks, oh, my granddad was the butcher in the local town, so everyone knows me. So I'm not going to put myself out there because they'll all be talking about me. Or look, there's Jen again off on another date. Who's she out with now? Blah, blah, blah.
And she's married.
Jesus. So there's a lot of twitchy curtains and nosy neighbours, and that stops people from putting themselves out there. So there's that has, but the exhaustion from online dating, the exhaustion of people knowing other people's business is killer. Teachers are our number one, always have been for 15 years. Because it's a highly female-dominated industry.
Okay.
That has never changed. That's never changed.
Okay.
20s to 93. But the biggest cohort of people who are single are 30-something, 30 to 50. But everyone's focusing on career and climbing the ladder and further education. So we're putting our personal side to the life to the side an awful lot. And then we're like, oh, shite, I'm 40 now. I never had kids.
Yeah.
Better do that.
Okay.
Yeah. A little bit too late. An awful lot of procrastination going on. And that's gotten worse and worse over the years.
Really?
People say stuff like, oh, sure, one of these days I'll get around to that, or I'll start that business now when I'm not so busy, or I have to look after my mother now, she has a bad back, my father has dementia, so I'm his carer or I'm her carer. They always use excuses as parents. It's like, well, your mother could have dementia for the next 10 years. Like.
I don't know. I don't know about that, because I do feel that society doesn't allow young people in Ireland to be single and date because they've so much other shit to deal with, from getting on the property ladder to, you know, getting their degrees, getting on the property ladder, you know, carving out a career for themselves. It takes time. I mean, they come out of school at, you know, 17, 18, then they're straight into third level education or whatever. And then that takes up a huge amount of their time. And then it's like, then there's savings, they have to start saving. There's a lot going on.
An awful lot going on, but they're much more proactive now in the 20s than they were in our age, in our era. Like, so many more people in their 20s are coming into us now, and they're like, I don't want to have happen to me what happened to my older sibling who's 39 and still single. So they're coming in at 20 and they're saying, like, I want to meet someone for a long-term loving relationship. And they're much more open to all sorts of stuff. Like, they might, one minute they're gay and the next minute they're not, and then they're bi, and then they're whatever.
They're trying everything.
Absolutely trying everything. Yeah, whereas back in the day, the 40-somethings would bless themselves thinking, Jesus Christ, don't be saying that.
Yeah.
Like, much more open-minded, much more proactive, but then, stuck in the box room until they're 40 because they can't afford to buy.
Exactly. And they're just staying away from the apps. Let's go back to the apps for a second, because they've just been in our life for so long now, and the app fatigue is a real thing. But why? What is going on the apps?
Because Bridie is on it and she's a lovely person, she's well intentioned and she wants to have kids and get married and have the whole thing, but then she's met with a whole load of guys who are taking the piss and wasting her time, and then she starts to lose focus and lose sight and lose faith in humanity, and then she starts saying, Jesus, what's the point? Will I just give up altogether? And the guys are the same, and like the women are saying to the men, well, what do you do for a living? What's your plan? Have you got your house in order? Where's your house? Where is your house? What's your career future path? They want a plan. A lot of the time men are asleep at the wheel in this country, and they're kind of shrugging their shoulders. Actually, we'll see how we get on. I was like, what do you mean you see how you get on? You don't. And that whole what's meant for you won't pass you by. It does pass you by, and then you're 45 crying on the phone to me that you should have done it when you're 20 or 30, and you didn't. But they blame a lot of other people. Irish has no point. She's full of herself. All the women are full of themselves. They're all wanting Trinity graduates. They all want 6'2". So I'm on the phone a lot of the time, and I'm saying
6 foot would do me.
6 foot's grand. Yeah. But no, I can't stretch them taller, just like I can't make them all go to Trinity. And that's what an awful lot of people are. Online dating has made people picky and dismissive of other people, disposable. It's like, sure, I'll move on. That person was a plonker. They said they like Trump, so I'm not going to go bother with that. They're obviously a lunatic, and so they judge people based on one little interaction, and they let themselves totally fail at dating because they tar everyone with the same brush then. Long distance doesn't work for me because last one I went out with, they were in Galway and I was in Limerick. I was like, yeah, okay. It wasn't the distance, it was the person wasn't right for you.
But do you think with the apps, I suppose, just going back to people being too picky, it's not that they're too picky, but the lack of humanity on the apps. So they've been burnt so many times, they cannot see it happening for themselves, I suppose, or working out, and they know what they want. I suppose it's important for people to know what they want and know what they don't want.
I agree to a certain extent until you start. Agree. Well, I do to an extent, but then not when people start saying the phrase, "Oh well, I'm not settling. I'm not settling, Jen. I don't care. I was like, okay, well, you can not settle, but also have slightly more realistic expectations, because the guy isn't probably going to be 6'4". He's probably not going to have gone to Trinity College. He may not, have the career that you want him to have had. But is that really important? But the ones who come in and they say, well, I want someone grounded, down to earth, who has their house in order, who's nice to their family, nice to their parents.
They're going to find someone.
They always walk away happy.
Okay.
It's the picky ones who are like, oh, well, I have standards and I don't care. I was like, yeah, I know, I have standards, but like, get real. And listen to your friends tell you how amazing you are over and over again. Oh, Jen, you're gorgeous, you're amazing. Try get Jesus high rocks. Oh yeah, amazing. Yeah, go on. Like, grand. To a certain extent, have that confidence in yourself and your self-belief until you become off the wall, like, overinflated ego. And every day, everyone says to me, well, I do Pilates and yoga, I eat fish, I drink water all the time. My omega levels are really high. My skin is great. I eat salmon pretty much every night. It's great. I was like, yeah, cool, lovely. And so she wants that exact person, but she thinks because she's 50, she only looks 40. So now she wants a 40-year-old man. But the 40-year-old men are looking for 22-year-olds. So I'm constantly trying to talk, men and women down to earth and just be a bit real. What is actually important here? And do you have a type? If you have a type, are you going for the same type over and over again? That's a killer, because your type has not worked so far. So change it up and listen to some advice. Stop micromanaging.
I need to talk about the decline in drinking culture.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, because it was a lot easier after a bit of Dutch courage,
Twas.
you know, with a few scoops going
Yeah.
up to someone.
Yeah.
And maybe the beer goggles were on.
Yeah.
And you shift someone who maybe you wouldn't have even looked at twice.
Yeah.
But then that can blossom into something
Can.
amazing. Talking about my marriage here. But it has that been a
Yeah.
huge shift
Yes,
and
it has.
not a problem. I mean, it's amazing that people are drinking less to a certain extent, but socially has that, and dating, has that had an effect?
Oh yeah, big time. The social scene is not what it was, and the pub scene is not what it was. Nightclubs is hardly any, and who goes to nightclubs anymore? So yeah, no, it has. And so what do you do? Then there's like 20 something's going off on errand dating now these days. Where you go and pick
What's
up
that?
You pick up your like laundry or your dry cleaning on a first date. Okay, cool. Not something I'd really want to be part of or do, but yeah, it's just random now, like what people are actually doing, and no one wants to go hiking or go running or go whatever and sweating like a mad joke and then let's score. Like that doesn't really happen either, but people think that it would be a great thing to do, to start a cycling club and then meet someone that way. But no, the pub scene, the club scene, it's sort of kind of gone. But over half the adult population are single in this country. They look at that up more 15s from the CSO. Don't know why, but they do.
Okay.
But over half, it's an awful lot. And like, what is that about? Is that we're ashamed a lot of the time of putting ourselves out there because we are very like, oh, I wouldn't please. It's like you see Bono on Grafton Street, not going, wouldn't please him, whatever, big head, whatever. You know,
Yeah.
I'm sure he doesn't, but you know, we just are very Irish. We're very proud. We're very like, I wouldn't admit that. That's why they come to us. That's 7-page long terms and conditions. No one knows your surname.
But I
photograph,
think
or
this
phone
is a
number.
universal problem. I don't think this is just an Irish thing.
We're extra bad. We're extra in your face. We're extra private. We're so paranoid about anyone knowing our business. People won't come into our office to join us. They'll want to do a virtual because they think everyone's looking at them on Grafton Street. It's like, no one cares, Bridie. Everyone's self-involved. Everyone's got their AirPods in. No one's looking at you.
It's like when you're self-conscious in a gym class,
Yeah.
but nobody cares because they're just too self-conscious about themselves.
But now you see the hunzos going off to the gym classes nowadays, and they're dressed up more than they would have been when they were going back to Wesley. So it's like it's all, and they're wearing the whatevers and the
It's a different thing.
different, very different. So yeah.
Okay. People say they're too busy, but what's the difference between genuinely being busy and quietly avoiding dating?
No one's ever too busy. Like, I don't care. We're busy. I've got a lot of stuff going on, as Rena does, and we're 3 businesses, 2 kids. We're busy. We make time if it's important to you. So I find it an absolute nonsense. Like, all people would need to set up a dating app is like 5-10 minutes. Some of them then have like 20 profiles, because the likes of Tinder it's advertising based and like modeled, so they want more and more people to create more and more profiles. I had one woman who rang me and she said, for shits and giggles, I set up profiles and I just adapt different personalities and personas every single day. And so 1 minute I'm Johnny, or I'm Mary, and the next minute I'm Elaine, next minute I'm whatever. I was like, all right, yeah. And you're playing fast and loose, Bridie, with all these guys who think you're a genuine individual. And the reason she did it was because I'm going off on a tangent here, Jen, apologies. The reason she did it is because Johnny, let's say, went out with her and he was a widower, and she went to his house one of the days and saw all the kids on the staircase, the pictures, and oh, your poor kids, and your wife died when? 3 years ago? Oh, I haven't dated since then. No. Anyway, she was out for lunch the next week with the neighbour of that guy and the neighbour's mother or something like that. And she says, I know Johnny, yeah, but his wife isn't dead. So he was claiming to be a widower on Tinder and had around 6 or 7 women on the go at the same time playing the sob story. And so when that happens time and time again, that's a dramatic story. But when that happens and little bits and pieces like affect you over and over again, it gnaws away at your confidence levels.
Yes. Then
you go on to WhatsApp groups like, Bridie, wait till you hear what happened to me. This guy is after saying this to me. When that happens time and time again, you lose focus and hope, and you kind of lose faith in humanity. And that's what they say to me on the phone. It's like, lads, it's not all doom and gloom. There are some nice people out there, but you need to cop yourself on and stop being on a free dating app. Stop being surprised when there's weirdos on Tinder and Bumble.
Okay.
Don't be surprised. Don't be shocked at me anymore. It's kind of like...
Okay.
Old school.
So it sounds like some of this is about grief, like people grieving the idea of how they thought dating would be.
Yeah, meet cute moment. They thought it's going to be lovely now. I'm going to bump into someone now in the supermarket and they're going to be lovely for a sight and that's it. No. Like, what's meant for you does pass you by. You need to work on it. It is like another job. It is.
Okay, let's do this. Let's talk about what actually helps for our single people out there listening.
Yeah.
Let's break it down for them.
Yeah.
Cut through all the bullshit
Yeah.
and tell them what to do. So you said people wait for the perfect time. Do you think we need to stop waiting?
Stop waiting. Stop the procrastination. Stop being like, oh, wait, when I lose a bit of weight. Because then you lose a bit of weight, Bridie, and then the teeth need to be whitened. And then...
Poor Bridie's getting an awful bashing.
I usually go John and Mary, Jen, so I don't know where Bridie's coming from.
Okay, so don't put things off. Like if you're saying, oh, when I lose weight or when I get my degree or when the kids, oh, is that a big one?
They always do that. And then they end up being 55 and 60 and they're at home in the house on their own. The kids are going off to college and then the kids start feeling guilty that Mammy's at home in the big house on her own. Then she has that maternal guilt that she didn't do it sooner. So you can be a good mother and a good father while also being a decent parent. You don't need to wait till the kids go off to college. And that's what an awful lot of them are doing. They're waiting, like, because the separation has increased so much nowadays. No longer do you have to be in a loveless marriage because the neighbours might talk about you. So loads more in their 50s and 60s and 70s joining. But yeah, they have this guilt. And then you get the parents who join in their 70s, and then sometimes randomly the kids interfere and think, oh, my mother isn't fully well. She's not all there. I was like, no, she seemed all there a minute ago. Is it because she has loads of property and you're worried about your inheritance? Johnny, that happened a few times.
Oh my God.
Yeah, random stuff.
Okay. One of the biggest issues you named is willingness to travel. What distance are we talking here? People want people down the road?
A woman on the phone to me on Friday or Thursday said, yeah, I'm wondering why I'm like still single after 4 years. I was like, what's the radius on your profile there, Bridie? And I was like, 4 kilometres. So I was like, there you are. So you probably know half the ones to see and the other half you're related to. So it's not rocket science.
Oh, please give it a go. I did a long distance relationship for 4 years and it was the greatest time of my life.
How long is long?
Well, I was in Dublin. He was in London.
Oh, that's grand. That's fun. See that as a good thing.
That's a big radius. It is. I mean, you don't have to shave your legs during the week. It's great. Yeah. I can focus on my job. We have quality time. And it worked. It
does work if he was right for the time. And he was right for the time.
It was perfect.
It wasn't London, the reason it ended. I won't ask you to tell me why it ended. But
it didn't end. I married him.
Go away. Oh.
So it does work. And you can make it work. And, and I suppose there's a lot of people are looking to the side.
They are.
They're looking at their friend's relationship, how it should be, and how many times are you having sex, and he bought you flowers, and he lives there, and he has this, and or she, or whatever. Yeah. I suppose you just need to find what's right for you and stop looking around you. So you think people should just be, because Ireland's quite small. I mean, you can be at the other side of the country in 4.5 hours.
But the point is, what they say on the phone all the time is like, what if I fall in love and they live in Galway and I live in Dublin? I was like, yeah, big deal. So you go to Galway one weekend and he comes to Dublin the next, and then the two of you work it out as two grown adults. If you want to, get married down the line and have children, then that's your business. It's not my job to sort out Johnny and Mary's dating experience.
But that doesn't sound like a distance problem. That sounds to me like they don't want to, they're not willing to change their life
at
all.
Yes. Yeah, and so Johnny will say, well, sure, I have a farm down in Tralee, so why should I move the farm? I can't fucking move the farm. I was like, I'm not asking you to move the farm. I'm saying go for a bite to eat with the woman and see if you like each other. And she likes you. But she has a restaurant in Limerick. Why the hell should she sell a restaurant because you have a farm?
Yeah.
So cop on, Johnny. So everyone's too stubborn. I'm like, oh, they can compromise. I'm not compromising. It's like, sorry now, if you're not willing to meet in the middle and be flexible and compromise, then forget about it.
Okay.
And so the teachers will worry all the time as well. They say to me, not to be slagging teachers, I'm not at all. They're great for business. But the point is, they will say, what if I fall in love and they live in Dublin and I live in Galway? And they're complaining about the fact that they might fall in love. So they have some decisions to make. I was like, lads, seriously. You're not long wondering or figuring out why over half the nation is single when you have these conversations. And that's why I don't. I
find that baffling. I find that weird because I've friends and family who live in America and they drive 4 hours to get to work.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
We've had situations where they get together and then the guy has to go to Australia and they just FaceTime for 2 years. But they were right. They were right for each other and they copped on and realised that, and then they just wrote it out.
Okay, so get rid of that. The distance.
The distancing. Up to 90 minutes to meet at the halfway point statistically gives you the best chance of success in this country, because more women live in urban areas than men because women spend longer in third level education. That's why I'm saying for 15 years, be willing to travel. It's not that I want to waste your petrol. It's because I know where more of the women are. They're more pocketed in Dublin, Limerick, Cork, Galway and Belfast because they spend longer in education. That's
fascinating.
And they argue over the phone to these stats and facts and figures. And when they start arguing, I get off the phone fairly lively. That's why we turn away more than we take on. That's why I'm still existing and still semi-sane after 15 years.
I don't know about that.
I don't know.
Can we talk about it? You touched on it earlier, expectations around age.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I would presume it would be a lot of men looking for younger birds, but it goes both ways.
It absolutely does. Jeez, yeah. So 40-year-old men will start getting annoying. The Peter Pan syndrome, the commitment phobic thing. They were in their 20s and mammy didn't think that they should go off getting married because, they're only looking to get pregnant and steal your land kind of thing. So then they get paranoid. Then the men are like, they're only looking to get pregnant. It's like, they're not actually. They have more money than you and they're doing better than you. So cop on.
They stayed in higher education.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so that's why when I get calls all the time, it's like, you have to meet my friend Circa. She's amazing. She's 5'11". She's got her own property. She drives a lovely car. Partner in the law firm. It's like they're everywhere. They are everywhere. Whereas then Johnny just won't get it together and hurry up and sort it out because he stays at home too late. He didn't go off to Australia for the year and have the crack. He just is like, Mammy's still tucking him in, practically putting spuds on his plate, and and he still calls her Mammy. That's a big ick for a lot of women. Guys, stop calling your mother Mammy.
Mummy is worse.
Mummy's very bad, yeah.
Okay, so if you are, let's say, a 35-year-old female, what do you think your age range you should be looking at?
Yeah, we would always be saying you'd be matching someone in around your own age group up to, but never more than sort of 4, 5, 6 years. So 35 to 41 would be perfect for her, is what we would be saying. And that's usually what works out. Because they're both on the same page, both singing off the same hymn sheet. They both probably want kids in the next year or two. Now they're just having kids first, and then then the child is the page boy or the flower girl after. That's generally what happens because they're coming in now, and women are coming in having children before meeting someone, and they ring me saying, "I had a baby through IVF. Will he be okay with that?" I was like, "Well, if he's not okay with that, you don't want to waste your time going out on a date with the guy. So yeah, of course, you do you. You had a baby, great,
amazing."
Women will make great decisions themselves, and they'll have a plan in place. Guys will be like, "Oh, you see what happens." It's like, so guys need to be kicked up the arse an awful lot more.
Especially with the age thing. So what are they?
Thing, yeah.
Are a lot of 40-year-old men looking for 20-year-old women?
Yeah.
Really?
Because they don't want life to start yet. They want the kids. They want, the whole, relationship thing to start and to happen, but they don't want it just right now.
Do they think they're bloody Leonardo DiCaprio or something? What is going on there?
They do. They compare themselves. They say, well, if Ronnie Wood can do it, I was like, and if Richard Gere, I was like, Richard Gere's a fucking A-list Hollywood. What are you talking about? You're not Richard Gere. You don't, Bernie Eccleston, you don't own Formula One. Like, so cop yourself on, Johnny. You're a tradesman down in wherever, Kildare. So you're not going to get that. So, no offence to tradesmen. And a lot of women...
I would take a tradesman
Jesus, yeah.
any day over Richard Gere, FYI.
Yeah. A lot of women do say that as well. I'd rather that because, I don't want anyone to, the college thing is a really annoying thing. And not to jump, but women are doing phenomenally well in third level education, and they're really doing well financially in that. But they are looking for their equal in terms of academic qualifications. That's a big, big, big issue. And they don't compare, emotional intelligence with success. They just see it as, well, he doesn't have 20 letters after his name, so how could I talk to him? It's like, you can have a conversation without having 20 letters after your name. And then I had one woman who said, oh, well, how do you pay for the fee if you didn't go to college? Sure, how would he have a credit card? It's like, you don't need to go to college to get a credit card.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how book smart some people are, but absolutely clueless when it comes to
street smarts.
Yeah.
Okay, so open up the radius.
The age thing, sorry, I didn't even answer your question.
Yeah.
I do that a bit. So yeah, Bridie will ring at 55 and be like, I do Pilates and yoga.
No, you did. So you said women. Yes, okay.
Yeah. So she wants the 45-year-old man.
She wants the 45-year-old.
And when I say, can't do that, Mary, sorry, she threatens to sue us and for discrimination and sexism and ageism and all sorts of stuff. It's like, no. It's not me making this rule up. I'm just saying we cannot force a 45-year-old man to meet a 55-year-old woman because he's ringing up looking for a 22-year-old. Do you get me? So they're all going to be like very angry about certain things, but it's not my job to make them happy about that. I just have to say, here's
so
the
you
facts.
stick to your rules and you stick to what you think works.
They're not my rules. Well, they are, I suppose.
They are.
They're okay based on facts and stats and figures from CSO and census results. That's what they are. I can't force people to do what they don't want to do, but if they don't listen to the honest, very decent advice, well, then let them off and be single. Is the point.
Okay.
I can't force them. Is the thing. 60-year-old men will still ring up saying, I think it's now time I started a family. So will you send someone down here to Tralee?
Wow.
Every day they still think it's John B. Keane in the field.
Let's talk about matchmaking.
Okay.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the biz. Who's it for and common myths. Let's talk about that. So talk me through the process. You've talked about Bridie, poor Bridie, a lot. Talk me through the process. Do they pick up the phone? They call you? Is there an interview process? How do from start to finish?
So John or Mary will call me and they'll call the office, and then I'll go through a kind of a triage sort of interview process to make sure that we can actually take the person on and that they would qualify to be capable of being pleased.
Okay.
And if they're not, within a couple of seconds, they'll usually show their true colours and they'll be like, "What do you mean I have to travel? I get panic attacks on the motorway. You're going to make me travel? Give me anxiety?" It's like, "Oh, see you, Mary. Not for you." So she will threaten and blame us for giving her future panic attacks within a couple of seconds because she hates the motorway and she lives on her nerve. Back in the day.
Yeah.
So not living on her nerve. She's probably psychiatric not right is the thing. But I'm not diagnosing people. I'm not a psychiatrist. But I can tell enough from intuition that this person is going to be hell and they're going to be dangerous and they're going to be toxic. And if I haven't got that,
and you're not speaking, about your bit. You're saying to other people as well. If you put them out there in the ether of the dating world and your clients, it's not going to work out well.
No, it won't. And I have a duty of care to all the clients that are on the books.
Gotcha.
To not take on someone who's angry and aggressive, some misogynistic crazy man, some arrogant guy. Some men ring up and say, "Oh, well, I've got kids, but it doesn't matter because I never see them." And wears it as a badge, thinking it's a great thing. I was like, "Sorry, you sound like a lunatic." So what woman is going to want this guy? You've got 3 kids, but I never see them. It's grand. I was like, all right, that doesn't do what you think it does.
Okay.
So they come out with all sorts of stuff, and they always show their true colours. They ring off private numbers sometimes. They won't give their surname. I was like, "You're married, Johnny. Go away." So we're not fools, is what I'm saying. But we are the guards or the gatekeepers at the entrance to take on those that are regular, normal, down-to-earth, grounded people, and to say no to the ones who aren't. Because if they're not likeable and sound and grounded, they're not going to go out and enter into relationships. So we are protecting other people from future drama that they're already sick of from Tinder and Bumble.
So you are in the business of getting people into relationships, not just dating.
Oh no.
Just your
marriage and babies and everything.
Wow.
Oh yeah. 20 to 93 is the age range in here. And so the 20s are looking for success, but not yet marriage, obviously. The 30s, yes, absolutely. 40s, yes, absolutely. 70s, 80s, they want to retain their independence, but also have someone that they can call upon and share experiences with and go out and go on holidays with and that kind of thing. But absolutely, it's full shebang, absolutely commitment, everything. And in that conversation over the phone, we'll determine whether or not we can take them on. If we can, they pay over the phone. Boom, done. The whole process begins. Then they have an hour-long consultation in person or virtually. Most people do virtual because they're much more comfortable in their own surroundings than coming into the office and feeling paranoid that everything's looking at them walking down Grafton Street. So then they're on board.
Then they're on board.
And everyone in the office, so all the humans make the decisions on the matches, not AI. It's not computer algorithmic stuff. So it's not like...
That's important to say.
Very important because, if there was such a thing, AI or algorithms out there that was going to succeed Elon or Zuckerberg or someone would have bought it by now, there'd be no single people. So it's down to human intuition and gut and managing expectations. Key thing is managing expectations and turning away those that are incapable of being pleased. And we're really good at turning away difficult people. And my friends then ask me a lot of the time, "Would you not set up a side hustle kind of thing with intro with all the difficult people?" I was like, well, you can run it if you want because I'm not touching of it. Myself and Rena opened up 15 years ago and we did let everyone on over Coffee and Sen when we started. And that was stupid of us, but we were naive, whatever. Well, we weren't that naive, but we were a little bit. And then we got really surprised and really shocked and disturbed that the people were so horrendous. We're like, what the hell, what have we done? We've created a monster here. And we're not stupid people, but we said, we can't do this anymore. This is going to drive us insane, or else we need to change and adapt. So then we started looking at all the reasons why people are single and so single. And it was down to the travel, age and education thing. Travel, age and education.
Okay, so the person is on your books. They're waiting by the phone.
Yeah.
Do they get an email with a load of profiles? Do they get a phone call? Like what?
They get a phone call. It's always verbally done. No one gets your surname, photograph, or phone number. You'll be Jen. You'll be Dublin. You won't be where you are in Dublin. You won't be Zamparelli. You'll be broadcaster. You'll be this. You'll be that. You'll be entrepreneur. Blah blah blah. But you won't be exactly identity revealing, Jen.
So you call your client up and you say, "I have a match."
We have a match for you. Mary's been chosen. She's this is why she's been picked by all of us, and we all collaborated and all came up with this as your best match for these reasons. And we will explain in detail why Johnny or Mary has been chosen for both parties. They then give their availability, and we arrange the date at the halfway point between the two people. So if Johnny is Dublin and she's Galway, meet in Athlone, go to the wine port for a dinner. And we book the table. We do all the feedback. We do all the follow-up calls. The staff are on call 7 nights a week when the dates are on. So if Bridie's running 10 minutes late to meet Johnny in Ballygo Brackers, Johnny calls us, we call Bridie. Then the next day we do a feedback call to see how you both get on. And if they got on well, they can pause their membership and run off into the sunset for 3 months to see if it works out.
How do you handle it when one person likes the other, but it's not mutual?
Happens all the time. So Mary will go out, she'll totally like him, and she'd be like, yeah, he was great, fantastic, lovely, yeah, definitely give him my number. Then Johnny's like, it's grand, like, you know, fine, but like, spark isn't really there, sorry. And then so when she finds that out, sometimes she takes it well, other times she will throw the toys out of the pram, and she'll blame us and say, well, that was a shite date. I was like, no, it wasn't. A minute ago you liked him. So she'll have to throw punches somewhere. So will Johnny, when Johnny's ego is bruised as well. But like, we're the messenger. We can't force Johnny and Mary to love each other, but it's spark, it's dating, that's it. But the date would never have come to you and materialised unless every single person in the office actually all collaborated and worked it out. And that's why it's successful in here. Because back in the day when a load of places opened matchmaking agencies and kind of hippy-dippy kind of stuff, not being bad, but looking at star signs. Like if you said to me, I'm a Cancerian, will you find me a lovely guy? I was like, go away. Sorry, no offence to people who follow. I'm
Aries anyway, so it's fine.
Oh, great. Yeah.
Okay, so it's practicality.
Practical. Living in the real world, just honest and decent, normal people. And so the collaboration that takes place within the actual office is what is key. Because you have different personalities and different perceptions of certain things.
God, you're playing God in a way.
A little bit, yeah. But the reason why it didn't work out for a lot of little one-man band places is because if you have Bridie sitting in the corner deciding everyone's fate, Bridie might have warped views or biased views and opinions on politics or religion, and that's what I've seen over the years. Like when water charges came in, I'm not going out with anyone who doesn't think you have to pay for water, or why should I pay for water? That's a right. Like houses are rights. Like everyone should be given a 3-bed semi. It's like, sorry, get up and get out and work. Is the other thing. So a lot of people, when they come into the dating world, they're like, I don't want to meet anyone who's following, Shinners or whatever. That's what they say. They're very vocal about it. And don't go near me if anyone who's a Trump or whatever, Trump supporter, don't go near me. If they don't believe you have to pay for water, I don't want to go near them. That's become more political. So,
back to Bridie.
Yeah.
She's been told that he's not feeling it after the date.
Oh, that was your original question.
Do you rally in the office, get her another date?
Yeah.
Is there a time period?
No, there's no time limit on the membership. There should never be a time limit on a dating agency's membership because there's no way of predicting when Bridie's best matches are going to become available. And Johnny might say to us, yeah, I'm available. Then Bridie might say, no, sorry, I can't. My mother fell down the stairs and broke her hip and I need to be a carer up in Donegal for the next 3 months. Random. And then COVID happens. So we go on pause.
Okay. Do you have somebody in the office that you're like, oh...
Yeah.
Johnny is so lovely. We just need to find someone. Do you?
Yes.
Do you have someone like that?
And the guys are so amazing. It's very hard to find good staff for a dating agency, believe me, because everyone rings us and they say, I love a job. Oh, God, I'd love to play Cupid. It'd be great. It's like, yeah, it's not really all that cute all the time. It's not roses and bunny rabbits and daffodils. It's tough work, and people are coming in and they're depending on you to find them a future life partner, to have a child or not have a child.
Wow.
So the stakes are high. So you need to have copped on, clued in, street smart employees, and we do, thank God. But they're very hard to find.
How many weddings have you...
You'd never know because Irish people wouldn't tell you.
I need to know your success rate.
1 in 4 ends in that. Yeah, up to 100 dates a week we organise. It's a lot of dates.
That is a huge amount of dates.
A lot of Johnny and Mary's going out on dates around for lunches and dinners. About 40 on a Friday, 40 Saturday, about 10, 15 on a Sunday go out for lunches or early birds, and then about 5 or 10 would go out for weekday, things, lunches.
That's incredible.
And half of those remain, end or go on pause, and half of those would remain together. So 50 couples will go on pause and they'll see fit or merit in pursuing things, and then they'll be like, oh yeah, half actually, no, that is good. So yeah, they give it a shot, but they don't string people along. That's the other thing. They might have been strung along a lot in the past from people just playing fast and loose with their emotions. They don't do that in here because they value each other's time and they respect each other's time. That's the key thing.
Not that this, I hate to say last resort, but this is when they've kind of tried the dating apps, they've tried the friends setting them up, then they seek professional help to get them a life partner. Or
else they wouldn't go near online in the first place because they're Irish. Either half of them would have gone online, the other half wouldn't touch off it. And most of them are now saying, oh, I'm not on social media. Jesus, no, I'm totally private. The privacy thing is huge.
Are you busier now than you've ever been?
Yeah, COVID made it that way and it hasn't stopped since. Because COVID allowed people to realise that there's no stigma or taboo attached to being lonely or admitting that I'm isolated and lonely. It gave people that free reign, that carte blanche, whatever you call it, to say, yeah, do you know what I am? And I'm not embarrassed about it. Whereas back in the day, they're like, oh, and please them to tell them that I was single. Or like I have people like we have cousins and friends and loads of people that we got together who are married with kids now, still won't admit that they joined intro. We're like, cheers for that. Absolute.
But I see this as the future of dating for people because everything is so It's just not working. I mean, the online stuff isn't working. People, your friends, it's just not working. There's so many single people out there. I think people are not that they go to you because they're desperate, but in a way, and in a good way, they need that help.
It's the most direct route approach way of meeting no-nonsense people who actually want the same outcome as you. So it's not embarrassing.
That's your tagline.
It kind of is. Not my first time saying that, but it's true because I'm sick of people saying, and like Bridie rings me up and she goes, oh, like, have you got like a whole load of like desperado kind of mingers on the books? I was like, well, do you know what, Bridie? I'm not going to say we have a load of desperado mingers on the books and you're ringing me. Are you a desperado minger? No, you're not. So why should he be? Just because you don't think, it's right to do it. So if you want a college degree, you go to college. If you want to get fit, you go to High Rocks, you go to whatever. And if you want to meet someone, you just kind of do this. And that's why it's kind of working now. It's not rocket science.
Okay. If listeners take one action after this episode, what should it be? Something small that they can do this week.
Have a blunt conversation with a person who they actually can confide in, who tells them the truth. Not a bullshitter kind of like, oh, Bridie, you're amazing, gorgeous, look at you, God, yeah. None of that shite. Sorry, it has to be someone who's very direct and very honest and very tells it like it is. And they will say to you, like, if you say, am I too fussy? Am I too picky? I'm like, what's going on here? Am I putting myself out there? Why am I single? People say to me all the time, I don't know why I'm single. I was like, what are you doing about not being single, Bridie? She says, well, nothing really, because I'm too busy. I was like, well, there you are. So you have to do something. If you're not doing anything, you can't be moaning about being single.
So that person, that very honest friend or family member, you're asking them, why am I single?
Yeah.
Would you ask them, what partner do you see me with?
Yeah, and like, this is my ideal. Does this seem reasonable and realistic to you, or do I sound like an absolute knob? And make them be blunt with you. Like, because I'll be blunt with them if they want, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
And they need that dose of reality. They really do. Some people need a nudge. Some people need a kick. Some people need to be shoved.
Okay.
Kicking and screaming. And they're their own worst enemy. They keep on complaining about being single, but they won't do anything about it.
But they are if they're getting in touch with a matchmaker.
If they're getting in touch, yes.
And if they're having that conversation with their friends. So slowly but surely.
Slowly but surely. But the procrastination thing is key. One guy rang me and he was 36, and then he kept on ringing and I, like a fool, kept on answering. And then 12 years on, he's 48, and he starts giving out to me that I wouldn't give him a 33-year-old. I was like, Johnny, we don't give people to people. They have to want you back. But also, she might have been 33 if you did this when you were 36. But you kept on procrastinating. You kept on talking nonsense and not making a proper decision. So don't be blaming and giving out to me because I can't make her 33.
Who's your oldest
93
client? Stop it.
I know, 93. 20 is the youngest, 93 is the eldest. Yeah, we had a lovely couple that went off. They're in their 70s, late 70s, and they sent a picture of them at on Bondi Beach drinking the cans on Christmas morning.
Stop it.
Gas stuff. We get loads of like pictures and stuff. Invite to weddings, not so much because people don't want to be airing the fact that myself and Rena set them up or whatever. Rena's nothing to do with intro anymore. That's another story. They don't want to admit it, but they will tell their bridesmaids and groomsmen on the QT. Sure. Here, by the way, I met them on intro, so call this number. That's how it happens. But I've forgotten and I've stopped trying to make people air it publicly. Like, they'd never go on here. I could never get you loads of clients to go on and talk to you about their dating experience. And we've offered weddings in the past. We've offered to pay for weddings and to go on to big shows and stuff like that, and they won't do it.
I don't think you need to anymore. I think something like this is very much word of mouth, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's very much word of mouth, and I suppose as we've talked about it quite a lot on the pod, is the decline in the online dating thing. There's a huge shift happening there. I mean, if you want to get the ride and hook up with someone, go to the dating apps. But if you want to genuinely meet someone, you need to be proactive. And
it had to have required effort and energy and money and time and and managing expectations. They have to have had to follow certain rules. Otherwise, it's free for all. And there's no one policing it. So we are the guards or the gatekeepers policing it. That puts manners on it. That in turn then gives you the best chance of success. And that's why it's working. It's not easy dealing with the public, as you know. But it's worthwhile, and it's very, very, rewarding when you get the pictures in the maternity wards and the two of them are there and the baby in between them and saying, cheers, lads. Thanks for that. That's very nice.
Enlightening. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.